Welcome to Kenya, a country in East Africa that truly has it all. Kenya straddles the equator and boasts an astonishing variety of landscapes, from sun-drenched Indian Ocean beaches to snow-capped mountains and rolling savannas. In fact, Kenya's highest peak, Mount Kenya 5,199 m, is Africa's second tallest mountain, often tipped with ice and snow, despite being on the equator. This diversity makes Kenya unique. It's known as one of Africa's most distinct and stunning destinations, famous for being perhaps the world's best safari country. Visual cue: panoramic aerial view of Kenyan landscapes. A montage from coastal beaches to mountain highlands, ending with savanna sunset. Kenya is also a land of rich culture and history. It's sometimes called the cradle of humanity, since some of the oldest human fossils like the 1.6-million-year-old Turk Anna boy were discovered here. Over centuries, Kenya's coast was a crossroads of civilizations, visited by Arab traders, Portuguese explorers, and even Chinese sailors in 1414. Later, the land became part of British East Africa until Kenya gained independence in 1963. Today, Kenya is a vibrant republic with over 54 million people, and its spirit of unity lives in the national motto Harambee Swahili for "Let's all pull together." Kenyan people will greet you with a warm smile and a friendly karibu, which means welcome in Swahili. Yes, Hakuna Matata, no worries, is a real Swahili phrase here. From the bustling modern capital city to remote tribal villages, Kenya offers an inviting mix of modern life and timeless traditions. Ready to explore? Visual cue: street scenes of Nairobi with friendly locals waving, intercut with traditional dancers in colorful attire. Let's dive into the wonders of Kenya segment by segment, starting with the must-see places. Our journey begins in Nairobi, Kenya's bustling capital. Nairobi is a dynamic city of nearly 5 million, full of contrasts. You can find skyscrapers, lively markets, and even wild animals roaming nearby. Fun fact: Nairobi is the only capital in the world with a national park right on its doorstep. Zebras graze in Nairobi National Park with the city skyline in the background. Just outside downtown, Nairobi National Park is home to zebras, giraffes, lions, and more, all with the city skyline as a surreal backdrop. In the city itself, you can visit the Karen Blixen Museum of Out of Africa fame, enjoy vibrant nightlife, or feed giraffes by hand at the Giraffe Center. Nairobi's nickname? Green City in the Sun, and it lives up to it with its tree-lined avenues and parks. Visual cue: footage of Nairobi's skyline, then cut to a giraffe being fed by tourists, and bustling city streets. Next, we head to the Kenyan coast and the historic city of Mombasa. Mombasa, Kenya's second-largest city, is a tropical paradise steeped in history. Stroll through the narrow streets of the old town to see centuries-old Swahili architecture, or visit the 16th century Fort Jesus, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that stands as a reminder of Portuguese and Omani influence. In the city center, you'll find an iconic landmark, the Mombasa Tusks, giant aluminum elephant tusk arches built in 1952 to commemorate Queen Elizabeth's visit. The famous Mombasa Tusks on Moi Avenue mark the entrance to the city center, symbolizing Mombasa's identity. Mombasa is also your gateway to beautiful beaches like Nyali and Bamburi, where you can snorkel in coral reefs. Visual cue: show Fort Jesus stone walls, then cut to the tusks over a busy street, then to palm-fringed beach and turquoise water. Speaking of beaches, Diani Beach, south of Mombasa, is often voted Africa's best beach, and for good reason. Picture white powdery sand, swaying palm trees, and the blue Indian Ocean stretching to the horizon. Diani is tropical paradise perfected. It offers everything from relaxed sunbathing and dhow sailing trips to adrenaline sports like kite surfing and scuba diving on the nearby coral reefs. Whether you're looking for luxury resorts or backpacker vibes, Diani Beach has something for everyone. Now let's journey inland to safari country. No trip to Kenya is complete without experiencing the Maasai Mara National Reserve, often simply called the Mara. This world-famous reserve in the southwest is Kenya's premier wildlife park, contiguous with Tanzania's Serengeti. The Mara's wide-open plains are teeming with wildlife: lions, elephants, cheetahs, giraffes, you name it. Every year around July-October, the Mara hosts one of nature's greatest spectacles, the Great Wildebeest Migration. Imagine thousands upon thousands of wildebeest plus zebras and gazelles thundering across the plains and dramatically crossing the crocodile-filled Mara River. It's a thrilling sight, often called the greatest show on Earth. If you visit the Mara, consider a sunrise hot air balloon ride for a magical aerial view of the wildlife. For a different safari experience, head to Amboseli National Park in southern Kenya. Amboseli is famous for its giant herds of elephants and unbeatable views of Mount Kilimanjaro just over the border in Tanzania. It's an iconic image, elephants slowly crossing the dusty plains with Kilimanjaro's snow-capped peak looming behind them. Photographers, get your cameras ready. Meanwhile, Tsavo National Park, split into Tsavo East and West, is Kenya's largest park, a vast wilderness so big it could fit a small country inside. Tsavo is known for its red dusted elephants. They powder themselves with the reddish soil, and for more secluded, off-the-beaten-path safaris. Up north, Samburu National Reserve offers a contrast, an arid landscape along the Iwaso-Ingiro River, where you can spot unique wildlife found only in the northern region. Samburu is home to the so-called Samburu Special 5, rare species like the gravy zebra with pinstripe-like narrow stripes, the reticulated giraffe with intricate lattice-patterned spots, the long-necked Gerenik antelope, Somali ostrich, and Besa oryx. Each park in Kenya has its own flavor and highlights, and many travelers combine several for the ultimate safari experience. Beyond wildlife, Kenya also offers hiking and adventure. Remember Mount Kenya. Adventurous trekkers can attempt to summit Point Len-Ana, one of Mount Kenya's peaks, for stunning sunrise views at over 16,000 feet. The trek leads you through montane forests and alpine moorlands, with weird Afro-alpine plants and occasional wildlife. It's a challenging but rewarding climb on a UNESCO-listed mountain that's sacred to local communities. And for a cultural step back in time, visit Lamu Island on the northern coast. Lamu Old Town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the oldest Swahili town in Kenya. A traditional dhow boat rests by Lamu's historic waterfront. The town's architecture reflects centuries of Arab and Swahili influence. Wandering Lamu's maze-like alleys feels like living history. You'll see beautifully carved wooden doors, coral stone houses, and bustling markets with donkey carts. In fact, Lamu has no cars. The streets are so narrow that donkeys are the main transport, giving the island a peaceful old-world atmosphere. You can spend days in Lamu soaking in Swahili culture, sailing on wooden dhow boats, and enjoying fresh seafood while watching the sunset over the Indian Ocean. Let's talk more about Kenya's amazing wildlife, one of the country's biggest draws. Kenya is often called the home of safari. Fittingly, the very word safari comes from Swahili, meaning journey or expedition. And what a journey a Kenyan safari is. In Kenya's 50-plus national parks and reserves, you can encounter an incredible range of animals roaming free. If you've heard of the Big Five, Kenya is where you can find them all: lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo, and rhino. These five were the most prized sightings, and historically, the toughest targets for hunters. But today, photographers hunt for them with cameras. Seeing a lion stalking through the grass or a lone elephant bull with enormous tusks in Amboseli is an unforgettable experience. Kenya's conservation areas are very diverse. There are lush mountain forests where you might glimpse a rare bongo antelope, savannas dotted with acacia trees where giraffes and antelopes graze, and even marine parks protecting coral reefs and dolphins. In Lake Nakuru National Park, for instance, the lake can turn pink from thousands of flamingos that gather at its algae-rich waters, a true photographer's delight. Over in Samburu, the northern park we mentioned, you not only see those special five animals but also have a chance to visit a Samburu village and learn how local people coexist with wildlife. Perhaps the most famous wildlife spectacle here is the Great Migration in the Maasai Mara. It's important to note the migration is cyclical and year-round. The vast herds are always moving in a loop through Tanzania and Kenya. In the Mara, the peak viewing is roughly July through September, when hundreds of thousands of wildebeest and zebras arrive from the south. If you go at this time, expect dramatic scenes of predator and prey, lions stalking the herds, or crocodiles lying in wait as the animals cross rivers. It's raw nature at its most awe-inspiring. Outside of migration season, the Mara is still fantastic for wildlife. You'll see plenty of big cats, elephants, hyenas, and more year-round. thanks to resident populations and rich ecosystems. Kenya's dedication to wildlife conservation is noteworthy. The country has set aside about 8% of its land for national parks and reserves, and also has many community conservancies and private reserves. Places like Olpejeta Conservancy are sanctuaries for black rhinos, and Kenya is home to pioneering conservation efforts. For example, it's where the last 2 northern white rhinos live under guarded protection. If you're an animal lover, consider visiting the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust Orphanage in Nairobi to see baby elephants up close, a heartwarming experience. Or the Giraffe Center, mentioned earlier, to hand-feed endangered Rothschild's giraffes. By visiting parks and supporting ecotourism, you're contributing to the protection of Kenya's magnificent creatures. Now that we've seen Kenya's natural side, let's briefly explore its history and cultural heritage. Kenya's story is long and fascinating. As mentioned, humans have lived here since prehistoric times. Fast forward to more recent history. By around 1000 AD, Kenya's coast had thriving Swahili city-states like Lamu, Malindi, and Mombasa, where African, Arab, and Persian cultures blended through trade. This Swahili culture gave Kenya enduring treasures, like the language Kiswahili and distinctive architecture and cuisine. European explorers arrived in the 19th century, and in 1895 Kenya became part of the British Empire. Colonial rule lasted until the mid-20th century. Amid both hardship and resistance, the Mau Mau uprising in the 1950s was a key independence movement. Finally, in 1963, Kenya achieved independence, led by its first president, Jomo Kenyatta. Kenya's Independence Day, Jamhuri Day, is celebrated every December 12th with great fanfare. Post-independence, Kenya has emerged as a regional economic and cultural powerhouse. Nairobi became a hub for Pan-African commerce and diplomacy. Kenya's people take pride in their nation's journey. You'll notice many streets and monuments named after heroes like Kenyatta or freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi. Visiting the National Museums of Kenya in Nairobi can give you a deeper dive into this history, from prehistoric fossils to exhibits on the fight for independence. Culturally, Kenya is tremendously diverse and rich. There is no single Kenyan culture. Instead, it's a beautiful mosaic of over 40 ethnic groups, each with its own traditions, music, and customs. For example, the Maasai people of southern Kenya are world-renowned for preserving their semi-nomadic way of life. You've probably seen images of Maasai warriors draped in bright red shukas cloths and elaborate beadwork, performing the Adala jumping dance as part of their coming-of-age ceremonies. Meeting the Maasai, hearing their songs, and maybe even joining a dance is a highlight for many visitors. In western Kenya, the Luhya have a tradition of energetic Isukuti drum dances. On the coast, Swahili culture features graceful tarab music and poetry blending African, Arab, and Indian influences. Kenyans are very proud of their cultural heritage and often hold festivals celebrating everything from traditional foods to music and dance. One beautiful aspect of Kenyan culture is the emphasis on community and hospitality. You'll often hear the word Harambee, which means pull together. This spirit of working together was ingrained by President Kenyatta and remains a guiding principle. Whether it's helping a neighbor harvest a field or organizing a community fundraiser, Kenyans value togetherness. This warmth extends to visitors. Don't be surprised if you're invited to someone's home for a meal or to join in a local celebration. It's all part of experiencing the heart of Kenya beyond just the tourist spots. All that exploration is bound to make you hungry. So let's talk about Kenyan cuisine. Kenyan food is hearty, flavorful, and truly reflective of its culture with some Indian and Arabic influences along the coast. The foundation of most meals is ugali, the national staple. Ugali is a stiff maize meal porridge. Imagine a firm polenta that Kenyans eat with various stews and vegetables. It might look simple, but it's beloved. You pinch off a bit with your hand, roll it into a ball, and use it to scoop up tasty accompaniments like sukuma wiki, which are collard greens sautéed with onions and spices. Another must-try dish is Nyama Choma, which literally means roasted meat. Nyama Choma, often goat or beef, is grilled over coals till it's charred and smoky delicious. It's usually served with a side of sukuma wiki, some roast potatoes, maybe a flatbread like chapati, and a fresh tomato onion relish called kachumbari. Eating Nyama Choma is often a social event. Friends or family gather at a local joint, order a few kilos of grilled meat, and enjoy it communally using hands, of course. If you prefer something lighter, try samosas, a popular snack thanks to Indian influence, or grilled mahindi corn sold by street vendors in Nairobi. You'll smell the roasted maize on nearly every corner in the evening. Along Kenya's coast, Swahili cuisine shines. This means fragrant pilau rice, cooked with spices like cloves and cinnamon, rich coconut curries with fish or chicken, and snacks like viazi karai, battered fried potatoes, and bhajia, spiced potato fritters, reflecting Indian Ocean trade influences. Don't miss trying fresh seafood if you're in Mombasa or Lamu. Grilled prawns, coconut crab, or a simple whole fish seasoned and cooked over charcoal. Many coastal dishes come with a squeeze of lime and a side of chili sauce for that extra kick. To wash it down, Kenyans love their chai. Kenya is one of the world's biggest tea producers, and indeed a hot cup of milky, spiced chai tea, also called chai masala, is the drink of choice for most locals. Tea time is a beloved ritual, often around 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. You might be offered a cup everywhere you go. Interestingly, Kenya also grows fantastic coffee, but you'll find most of that is exported because it's so valuable. So while you can get good coffee in cities, it's the tea culture that really thrives. If you prefer something cold, Kenya has its own lagers like Tusker beer, plus fresh tropical juices, mango and passion fruit that are absolute heaven on a hot day. Food in Kenya isn't just about eating. It's also about community and celebration. If you're lucky to attend a Kenyan wedding or a festival, you'll see what we mean. Huge pots of pilau or biryani will be cooked for guests. Goats will be roasted, and people will feast while traditional songs and dances are performed. During cultural festivals like the Lamu Cultural Festival or others, you might witness energetic dances, poetry readings, even donkey races in Lamu. Each ethnic group has special foods for ceremonies. For example, among the Kikuyu, irio, a mashed peas, corn and potato dish, is popular at gatherings, and the Kalenjin have a fermented milk drink called mursik used in rituals. By trying the food and joining the festivities, you're not just a tourist, you become part of the Kenyan story, even if just for a moment. As we've hinted, Kenya is ethnically diverse, home to dozens of tribes, ethnic communities, each with its own language and customs. In total, more than 40 languages are spoken in Kenya. The Kenyan population can be broadly grouped into three major language families: Bantu, Nilotic, and Cushitic. The Bantu peoples, about 65% of Kenyans, include the largest communities such as the Kikuyu, Luhya, Kamba, and Meru, mostly inhabiting central and western Kenya. They traditionally were farmers. For instance, the Kikuyu in the Fertile Highlands grew tea and coffee and played a big role in the independence movement. The Nilotic peoples, around 30% of the population, include groups like the Luo, Kalenjin, Maasai, Samburu, and Turkana. These groups are historically cattle herders and warriors of the plains and Rift Valley. The Maasai, though not one of the largest by numbers, about 1 million in Kenya, are internationally famous for their culture and have become a symbol of Kenyan heritage. The Kalenjin, from the Highland West Rift Valley region, are renowned as the world's greatest long-distance runners. More on that in a moment. The Luo, settled around Lake Victoria, have a rich fishing culture and are known for their vibrant music. The Benga genre comes from Luo land. Kenya's smallest group, the Cushitic peoples, about 4%, include communities like the Somali, Rendille, and Oromo in the arid north and northeast. Traditionally nomadic pastoralists with ties to the Horn of Africa. With this tapestry of ethnic groups, Kenya's linguistic landscape is equally rich. The good news for travelers is that English and Swahili are the two official languages, so communication is usually easy in towns and with guides. Swahili, known locally as Kiswahili, is actually a lingua franca that unites the country, a language born on the coast that blends African Bantu structure with many Arabic words. Pretty much everyone speaks Swahili in addition to their mother tongue, and many Kenyans speak 3 or more languages fluently. You'll hear cheerful Swahili greetings everywhere. Jambo. Hello. Habari. How are you? Asante. Thank you. Karibu. You're welcome. Try using a few phrases. Locals will appreciate it and likely grin and respond with encouragement. It's impossible to cover all Kenyan tribes in a short segment, but let's name a few more and their regions. The Luhya in western Kenya are known for their festive dances and wrestling traditions. The Kamba in eastern Kenya historically served as skilled traders and also have famous wood-carving artisans. The Somali Kenyans in the northeast keep alive rich traditions of poetry and camel herding. The coastal Swahili people of mixed Bantu, Arab, and Persian ancestry are proud of their Swahili culture, known for exquisite furniture craftsmanship and sailing skills passed down generations. What's truly admirable is that despite this diversity, Kenyans have a strong national identity. They come together proudly as Wakenya, Kenyans, especially in times of celebration or when cheering on their famous runners and sports teams. As we wrap up, here are some fun and interesting facts about Kenya that showcase its unique character, safari capital. Kenya has repeatedly been recognized as the world's leading safari destination. World Travel Awards gave it this title in 2015, and it's held on since. The term safari itself, as mentioned, is from Swahili meaning journey, and Kenya truly offers the ultimate wildlife journey. The Great Rift Valley. The gigantic Great Rift Valley literally splits Kenya from north to south. This valley was formed over 25 million years ago by tectonic forces and runs approximately 6,500 km from the Middle East down through East Africa. In Kenya, the Rift Valley has created stunning landscapes, jagged escarpments, volcanic lakes, and hot springs. It's also the reason you find so many lakes on Kenya's floor: Turkana, Naivasha, Nakuru, etc., which are vital habitats for wildlife. If you drive to the rift's edge, for example, at a viewpoint on the road from Nairobi to Nakuru, the panoramic view of the valley below will take your breath away. World-class runners. Kenya is crazy about running. This country consistently produces many of the world's best long-distance athletes. Think of Olympic champions and marathon record holders like Eliud Kipchoge, the marathon GOAT, David Rudisha, or Brigid Kosgei. They're all Kenyan. Many of them hail from the Kalenjin tribe in the Highland Rift Valley. It turns out training at high altitude on hilly terrain is a recipe for running success. In fact, an estimated 3/4 of all gold medals in long-distance track events have been won by Kenyans in recent decades. If you visit the town of Iton, dubbed Home of Champions, you might see future Olympians training on dirt roads every morning. So don't be surprised if every Kenyan you meet knows the latest marathon results. Running is a national pride. Silicon Savannah. Kenya isn't just about wildlife and runners, it's also a tech pioneer in Africa. Nairobi is often nicknamed the Silicon Savannah for its booming tech industry. Kenyans famously developed M-Pesa, a mobile money system that turns cell phones into banking tools and revolutionized financial inclusion here. Long before Apple Pay or fintech was a buzzword, Kenyans were paying taxi fares and groceries by phone text. Today, Nairobi hosts countless startups, innovation hubs like iHub, and major tech firms. It's inspiring to see how a country can leapfrog in technology. Kenya even has smart traffic lights and tech incubators popping up everywhere. So, while part of Kenya feels like pure nature, another part is quite futuristic and entrepreneurial. Cultural exports and fame. Kenya has made its mark globally in various ways. To name a few, the famous phrase Hakuna Matata from The Lion King is Swahili, widely spoken in Kenya, and indeed you'll hear it used cheerfully in daily life. No worries. The first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize was Wangari Maathai, a Kenyan environmentalist celebrated for starting the Green Belt movement that planted millions of trees. Kenya is also a filming location for Hollywood movies and documentaries, from Out of Africa to BBC's Planet Earth segments. And here's a fun trivia. Barack Obama's father was Kenyan, born in the village of Kogelo in western Kenya, which made the 44th U.S. president very popular in Kenya. You'll find schools and roads named Obama there. We hope this has inspired you to visit and create your own Kenyan adventure. Until next time, KWA Harry goodbye from magical Kenya.
Savannah.